Hey everybody, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and today we're going to continue our look at the new North Africa book. This is going to be a short video. We're just going to be focusing on the Afrika Korps portion of that book. As you know, or might not know, the new North Africa book actually has four forces in it, or sides. We've got the Germans, the Americans, the British, and the Italians, and each one of those is in essence not a reprinting, but an update of the original books that came out at the beginning of version 4's release a couple of years ago. So the new book contains Afrika Korps. The original book was also called Afrika Korps. And what I'm going to do here first is basically just compare the contents of the two books. The original Afrika Korps had in it the Panzer III Tank Company, the Panzer IV Tank Company, Afrika Rifle Company, and that was it. You had three basically formations that you could use in that book, as well as a bunch of nice support units like the ever popular Tiger or Martyr or Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber. So one of the criticisms of the early books was that they were kind of bland, and that is subjective. I was never a big desert player before version 4 dropped. Even then, I had, I didn't have a German or British desert army. I played Americans in the desert. They didn't come out till a little bit later. So, I wasn't fully immersed and didn't quite do that. But even people in our group here at AMGAS were a little disappointed with those first few books in version 4. And I feel like for some people that kind of set, that just kind of set in their mind that they did not like version 4 and they wrote it off, which was sad because the books have definitely gotten better and better and better as version 4 has matured. I particularly liked the American book, which we'll talk about in another video. But so let's see now, after having talked about the original book, what the new book is bringing in. So there we also have the Panzer III and Panzer IV companies. We also have a 90th Light Rifle Company, an Afrika Rifle Company, and a Fallschirmjäger Company. So this time out we're getting 5 companies instead of 3, so almost double. So 5 is interesting. The Panzer III, Panzer IV, and Afrika Rifle Company were from the original book, and the new companies that are introduced here or added is the Light Rifle Company and the Fallschirmjägers. So that's pretty interesting. We're also having some of the support units, which I think are pretty similar. I think the new book adds the 15 centimeter Bison infantry gun platoon, the Diana tank hunter platoon. Those are just the ones off the top of my head, as well as adding a wild card platoon in the form of a Tiger P or Porsche. And that is from the old Mid-War Monsters range. Last week I did a video on all the new wildcard units that are coming out, and we talked about this one. And I do want to make a correction. The Porsche is not identical to the normal Tiger. The normal Tiger in Mid-War has a cross rating of 3, whereas the Tiger P has a cross rating of 2, Tiger P being the Porsche wildcard unit. All right, and basically the Panzer III Tank Company is a Panzer III HQ, up to 4 Panzer III platoons. One of those could be upgraded or swapped out with a Panzer IV platoon, as well as access to Panzer IIs, which are always interesting. Now with the Panzer IIIs, you can always take either the 7.5 millimeter longer barrel or the short 5 centimeter barrel, and that's going to be that's going to be a judgment call on you. The long barrel gives you anti-tank 9, 3+ firepower. The short barrel gives you, whether you take the, well, if you take the long, you're getting anti-tank 9, 4+ firepower. If you take the short, you are getting anti-tank 8, 4+ firepower. So it's interesting. The normal Panzers are, pretty affordable. A short is only, I believe, around 5 points. A short 5 centimeter. So you could conceivably have quite a few Panzer IIIs in your force. Now, something you'll notice I'll talk about in this one is this formation really can be brittle because it doesn't have a lot of the stuff that you'll see in late war formations. Like for Germans in late war, many tank companies include integrated anti-aircraft. And that's a great thing to keep hidden in the back. The Panzer III company is just armored formations, so if you want to keep your company safe from breaking, you're going to have to hide your tanks. But hiding your tanks can often be counterproductive because you'll need all your tanks in order to defeat your enemy. Okay, let's talk about the Panzer IV company next. That is pretty straightforward. It's just a Panzer IV HQ with up to 3 Panzer IV tank platoons and the ubiquitous Panzer II. With the Panzer IV, you get either a short 7.5 or a long, you can upgrade it to a long 7.5, and it's one of the first places where you can get anti-tank 10 in your force. The Panzer IV obviously goes on to soldier throughout the war. It's a cool looking tank. The long barrel is pretty snazzy looking. They are pricey, but they are pretty much on par with a Lee or Sherman, as far as capability. Of course, all this German stuff is going to be hit on 4s instead of 3s like the Americans. Next, let's look at the Afrika Rifle Company. The Afrika Rifle Company has an HQ, a couple of platoons, plus a 5 centimeter tank hunter platoon required in that formation. You can take some additional anti-tank guns and rifle platoons, as well as an AA platoon. So the Afrika Rifle Company is the first company that's really got some legs as far as staying power. You can take a lot of, units that are, or at least can be, relatively inexpensive as careful hit on 4+ units can be, and really keep that formation on the table, which is nice. All told, if you max it out, you could have 3 platoons of Afrika Rifle platoons. You could have 3 units of 5 centimeter tank hunter guns, as well as that AA platoon. So that's 8 including the HQ, 8 units, which although it would be a good chunk of change, it's going to stay on that tabletop. Okay, let's talk about the light infantry. So the light infantry is new to the Afrika Korps book. It is laid out pretty similarly in that you can have up to 3 Afrika Rifle platoons, the same exact rifle platoon. But instead of taking the 5 centimeter, you can take 7.62 tank hunter platoons, which are anti-tank 12, really, really nasty guns. They are pricier, but they hit harder than those 5 centimeters in the regular. Then you can also take the same light anti-aircraft platoon. So they're pretty similar. I'm not sure why this wouldn't be just one company with the option of swapping out 7.62s with 5 centimeter anti-tank guns. But again, with all the benefits I just listed for the other formation, you can have up to 8 units in your core formation, which can be beefy and keep you on the tabletop. The last unit we're going to look at is the Fallschirmjäger Company, which is what you'd expect from elite infantry. Here you can take up to 3 Fallschirmjäger platoons, as well as a machine gun platoon, a mortar platoon. Actually, you could take up to 2 of the mortar platoons, which is very nice. So here you can max out with 7 units total. A Fallschirmjäger platoon is pretty tough. It's you know, it starts out, well, if you max it out, it's like 10 stands of rifle MG teams, and then you can add a couple of heavy machine guns, you can add a anti-tank rifle. So, you know, you're pushing American U.S. armored rifle size platoons. And for points, I mean, yes, it's pricey, but not super, you know, it's not going to break the bank with a couple of these platoons. And obviously with them being elite paratroopers, not only are they hit on 4s, but they're also fearless and veteran, so 3+ motivation and skill, which is really nice. They don't have any integrated anti-tank to speak of, besides the anti-tank rifle team that you can purchase. But that's what your support is for. You throw some Martyrs or a Tiger or 2 behind these guys, and they're going to become pretty hard to move. All right, so there you go on the formations. Now the support is pretty interesting because there are support units for Fallschirmjäger, and then there are support units, just general German Afrika Korps support units. We'll talk about support units as a whole. I'm not going to go through every single one, just some of the big ones. Everybody loves Tiger tanks. Very few armies that I've seen at tournaments. I think the last Shifting Sands we had before COVID shut us down was Desert, and I think we had many a Tiger there. So the Tigers are very expensive, running almost 30 points for a Tiger, and but bringing front armor 9 to mid-war is really good. And AT-14, there's nothing the Allies are going to be putting in your way that's going to significantly stop an AT-14. So Tigers are always something fun to add. They're iconic, and whether or not they're meta winning, you know, people like Tiger tanks because of that. They also have the Martyr. Everybody loves the Martyr. I think most armies, I don't think I've faced a German desert army without Martyrs in it, and they are a really great way to get anti-tank 12. They are, you know, they have barely any armor to speak of, but anti-tank 12 is really nice, and being hit on 4, you know, at long range they can be very hard to remove. So again, another place for the Germans to add some higher AT to the list. Then you have that, I wanted to talk about that Diana Tank Hunter platoon. And I'm not sure, I think this might have been an old mid-war monster as well, maybe not. Correct me or update that down in the comments below. But basically it gives you AT-11, 3+ firepower. Not quite as good as a Martyr, but if you need Martyr-like abilities on the cheap, the Diana might be better for you. As far as other support, you've got all the basic scout cars. Everyone's got, you know, everyone knows 88s in German lists can be very good. The new thing, the other new thing I think they added was that 15-centimeter Bison infantry gun platoon, which is, you know, built off a Panzer chassis with a, it can be fired as artillery or direct fire, which is pretty nice. Anytime you get up into that 15-centimeter range, direct fire is just one shot, but you can drop a very nice anti-tank 3, 2+ firepower template on something. Of course, it's just 2 guns, so you got to keep that in mind. All right, so overall, now that I've ranted on long enough, oh, I guess I should mention this too, just in case you haven't seen my wildcard video, you're just here for the Germans. They do add the German wildcard platoon, which is, sorry, the Tiger P, which is the Porsche designed Tiger. So it looks different. The main difference is it's a 2+ cross-check, which is very, very good. The regular mid-war Tiger is a 3-up cross-check. Otherwise, you're looking at basically the same tank. So you can. And mid-war monsters, if you want more, you're like, what's a mid-war monster? Why does he keep saying that? Go ahead and watch the my previous video on these wildcard units, and that'll give you a little bit more information. So overall, I think the Germans are in a better place mid-war. The Germans will get revisited if they do a compilation of Eastern Front mid-war. I don't know if they're doing that. I'm not privy to Battlefront's future designs unless they've put it on their website. But here, at least, you've got a little bit more as far as options go. By adding the Fallschirmjägers, you can now add Fallschirmjäger support to Afrika Korps units and vice versa, which is pretty cool, pretty flexible. The Fallschirmjäger adds some really rock hard infantry. Regular German infantry is great. I think one of the big problems that Germans run into is their stuff is so pricey, because it is good, that you don't have a lot of it. And therefore, with armored companies and things like that, your formations are very brittle and can be broken that way. So that is something to consider. Now, I haven't sat down with points, but maybe there's a good way to build a dual formation infantry and Panzer III company and see how it does, or an infantry company with tank support, which is personally something I think I would lean towards. Eventually, I will be painting up a new German desert army so that we can check out the new sets that are coming for this release, as well as get some battle reports filmed, and I'm excited to do that. So I think the book is just fine. I think it adds options. It's nice to have a compilation where you've got everything in theater in one spot. The wildcard units, love them or hate them, they're going to be a divisive thing in the game. Having them, personally, I don't mind, but I do think you should talk to your opponent beforehand if you are going to include them. With the Germans and the Tiger P, it's such a minor change. It's just a different Tiger with a slightly different stat. I don't see it being a problem here, but for other nationalities, it might be more of a thing. But as always, talk to your opponent, come to an agreement. If you go to a tournament and they don't mention it, find out what their policy is on wild cards. Are they going to allow them, and so on. All right, guys, there you go. That's a quick look at the Afrika Korps section of the new North Africa book. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do let me know down in the comments below. If you like our Flames of War content, please do check out our Patreon. Patrons get access to a battle report exclusive to them every month. You can check out the link down below as well. Please do consider giving us a like and subscribe. Click that bell to receive notification when we drop new content. As always, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.